What if Pat Morita, the unforgettable Mr. Miyagi, had been erased from Hollywood's history before his defining role? In his 73 years, Pat Morita reveals the shocking truth about the Karate Kid and his journey to stardom. Before becoming the wise mentor we all love, Morita's path was filled with personal battles and industry skepticism, making his eventual success all the more remarkable.
Walk on the road. Walk right side, safe. Walk left side, safe. Walk middle, sooner or later, get the squish just like grape. But, well, look who's here, the big war hero.
Born in California in 1932, Pat Morita's early years were anything but ordinary. His childhood was marked by significant adversity, beginning with a severe diagnosis of spinal tuberculosis at the age of 2. Confined to a hospital bed for lengthy, painful years, Morita faced not just a battle against a debilitating illness, but also endured the profound loneliness of long-term hospitalization during his formative years. These early experiences tested his resilience and shaped his character in ways that would later influence his career. His challenges continued during World War II, when, as a Japanese American, he and his family were forcibly relocated to internment camps. This period of hardship and injustice, however, played a pivotal role in developing his perspective and sense of humor, elements that would later define his persona on stage and screen. After the war, Morita's family attempted to rebuild their lives amidst the lingering shadows of internment. It was during this time of rebuilding and reflection that Morita discovered his gift for making people laugh. Humor became a refuge, turning the raw materials of his hardships into a source of connection and joy for others. He started his career in entertainment in the nightclubs of Sacramento, slowly building a reputation. His stand-up comedy routine, filled with sharp wit and insightful observations about his life and the world around him, began opening doors to new opportunities. In the 1960s, Morita transitioned from stand-up comedy to acting, securing roles in various TV shows. These early roles, though small, showcased his versatility and impeccable comedic timing, hinting at the depth of talent that was yet to be fully recognized by broader audiences. His comedic flair was evident, but beneath the surface was a longing for roles that could offer more than laughter, a chance to explore the breadth of his acting abilities. By the time Morita began looking for more substantial roles, he was ready to break free from the comedic typecast that had defined his career. This determination set the stage for the remarkable journey that would eventually lead him to the iconic role of Mr. Miyagi. But how did a comedian land a serious role in Hollywood? Landing the role of Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid was no easy feat for Pat Morita. His journey to this career-defining role was fraught with obstacles that tested his resolve at every turn. Morita, primarily known for his comedic roles and stand-up routines, faced significant skepticism from Hollywood's power brokers, who couldn't envision him in a serious leading role. The initial casting calls for Mr. Miyagi required a persona that could blend stern authority with a gentle paternal influence, a balance difficult to strike. The film's producers were on the hunt for an actor who could naturally embody these traits without slipping into caricature. When Morita's agent suggested him for the part, the response was less than enthusiastic. The producers and casting directors were familiar with Morita's comedic work, but doubted his ability to carry the depth and gravitas the role demanded. Undeterred, Morita decided to audition, seeing it as an opportunity to break away from the typecast roles that had pigeonholed him in the industry. However, his initial auditions didn't sway the casting team. They were impressed with his acting skills, but remained unconvinced he was the right fit for Mr. Miyagi. The role called for a depth of emotion and a quiet strength that they had never seen from Morita on screen. As the casting process dragged on, the producers auditioned hundreds of actors across America, searching for the perfect Mr. Miyagi. They were looking for someone who could bring authenticity and dignity to the character, a task that seemed increasingly daunting. Time was running out, and the pressure was mounting to find the right actor for this crucial role. Even with these challenges, Morita's perseverance never wavered. He asked for another chance to audition, determined to prove that he could bring Mr. Miyagi to life. It was during this second round of auditions that something remarkable happened, a stroke of luck that would ultimately change the course of Morita's career and redefine his legacy in Hollywood. Next, we'll see how a stroke of luck changed everything for Morita. The casting of Mr. Miyagi was at a standstill. Despite numerous auditions, no actor seemed to fit the mold the producers were looking for in The Karate Kid. It was during this ongoing search that a turning point came unexpectedly, thanks to the director, John Avildsen, whose previous work on underdog stories had sharpened his eye for potential. Avildsen, intrigued by the idea of casting against type, decided to give Pat Morita a chance, regardless of the reservations of other key decision-makers on the project. Morita, known for his comedy, was not an obvious choice for a role that required a significant emotional range and a commanding presence. But Avildsen saw something in Morita that others had missed and invited him to a private audition, away from the skeptical eyes of the producers. On the day of the audition, Morita decided to transform himself into Mr. Miyagi. He showed up with his hair combed back and his beard trimmed. He carried himself with the quiet dignity and depth that Mr. Miyagi required, embodying the character's wise and serene demeanor. It was a bold move, but Morita knew it was his last chance to prove he could take on more serious and impactful roles. As the camera rolled, Morita delivered lines with a subtle strength and a depth of emotion that stunned Avildsen. Gone was the jovial comedian America had come to love on television. In his place stood a profound and compelling figure, who brought Mr. Miyagi to life with each word and gesture. Morita's performance captured the essence of Miyagi's spirit. Beyond words, with a gentle yet resilient soul that resonated with the character's backstory. The room was silent when Morita finished, the kind of silence that speaks volumes. Avildsen, moved by the performance, knew he had found his Mr. Miyagi. It was a moment of validation for Morita, whose diverse talents had often been overlooked because of his comedic background. But what happened when Morita showed up to audition? Following Pat Morita's transformative audition with John Avildsen, the next challenge was convincing the key decision-maker, the producer, Jerry Weintraub. Weintraub was known for his clear vision and firm decisions, which until that moment did not include seeing Morita as the stoic Mr. Miyagi. Weintraub had strong reservations about casting a comedian known for light-hearted roles in a part that required gravitas and a deep cultural resonance. However, Avildsen, moved by Morita's audition, was determined to have him on board and planned a special screening to win over Weintraub. The director invited Weintraub to a casual viewing of the audition tapes without revealing who he was watching. As the footage of Morita's performance played, Weintraub was drawn in by the authenticity and depth Morita brought to Mr. Miyagi. He observed the character's wisdom, his subtle humor, and the quiet strength that Morita exuded. Halfway through the viewing, Weintraub turned to Avildsen, asking about the actor who had so perfectly captured the essence of Miyagi, still unaware that he was watching Morita. When Avildsen revealed it was indeed Morita, Weintraub was initially shocked. The man he had been watching on the screen was worlds apart from the comedian he thought he knew. This revelation was a pivotal moment. Weintraub began to see Morita not just as a comedian, but as a versatile actor capable of bringing depth and sincerity to the role. Convinced by Morita's performance and Avildsen's confidence in his fit for the role, Weintraub agreed to move forward. And yet, the battle wasn't over. Let's discuss the final hurdle that almost cost him the role. Once Pat Morita secured the role of Mr. Miyagi, he didn't just step into the character, he transformed into it, creating an unforgettable figure in film history. Morita knew the importance of this role went beyond acting. It was about representing a culture and conveying deep, universal truths through the character's wisdom. Morita approached the role with a depth of preparation that surprised many of his co-stars and crew members. He meticulously researched the life experiences of Japanese immigrants and the nuances of a karate sensei. He spent hours with karate masters, not just to learn the movements, but to understand the philosophy behind each gesture and stance. This dedication ensured that every chop, every block, and every thoughtful stare Miyagi offered was infused with authenticity. In developing Mr. Miyagi, Morita added layers of personal history to the character, often drawing on his own experiences. He envisioned Miyagi as a man shaped by loss and resilience, much like himself. This backstory was subtly woven into his performance, creating a character who was not just a karate teacher but a surrogate father, a wise mentor, and a figure of quiet strength. Morita's interpretation brought a balance of humor and solemnity to the role, embodying the dichotomy of a man who could find joy in life. Morita's Mr. Miyagi became iconic for his unique teaching methods, especially the wax-on, wax-off technique, a simple but profound way to teach karate moves while imparting life lessons. This method wasn't just about training the body, but also about training the mind, teaching patience, discipline, and focus in a way that resonated with audiences globally. The character's influence extended beyond the film's narrative, touching on themes of respect, perseverance, and the importance of mentorship. Through Mr. Miyagi, Morita offered a cultural bridge, presenting Eastern philosophies in a way that was accessible and profoundly impactful to a Western audience. Morita's commitment to the role was evident in every scene, turning what could have been a typical mentor character into a memorable and beloved cultural icon. His performance did not just define his career, it left an indelible mark on the hearts of viewers around the world. Next, time to discuss the impact of Mr. Miyagi on millions. Mr. Miyagi, as brought to life by Pat Morita, didn't just fill a role in The Karate Kid. He created a cultural symbol that resonated across the globe. His portrayal transcended the boundaries of just a film character, becoming a figure synonymous with wisdom, patience, and the spirit of overcoming adversity. In America, Mr. Miyagi's influence was profound. He became a cultural icon who represented more than just a karate master. He embodied the integration of Eastern philosophies into a Western-centric narrative, challenging and enriching American views on martial arts and Asian culture. His teachings, delivered through a series of memorable and quotable lines, offered audiences a new perspective on life and conflict resolution. Globally, Mr. Miyagi's impact was just as significant. The character became a bridge between cultures, bringing a piece of Eastern philosophy to audiences who might have never encountered it otherwise. His respectful and calm demeanor, coupled with the depth of his knowledge, offered a contrast to the often brash and action-focused characters typical of 1980s cinema. This difference made him not only a novelty, but a respected figure whose lessons held universal appeal. The immediate impact on Hollywood was substantial. Morita's performance challenged the prevailing stereotypes and demonstrated that Asian characters could be central figures with depth and humanity. This shift began to change audience expectations and opened the door for more varied and substantial roles for Asian actors in mainstream cinema. Mr. Miyagi's teachings transcended the film, influencing pop culture and the development of martial arts training in America and abroad. Many karate schools saw a surge in enrollment, with instructors incorporating Miyagi's fictional techniques and philosophies into their real-life training sessions, attesting to the character's profound influence on the sport. But behind the scenes, not everything was as calm as Miyagi's demeanor. Achieving iconic status as Mr. Miyagi brought Pat Morita widespread acclaim, but it also ushered in new challenges. While the role made him a beloved figure, it paradoxically narrowed his opportunities in Hollywood. Morita found himself battling the double-edged sword of typecasting, where he was repeatedly offered roles that mirrored Miyagi, preventing him from showcasing the breadth of his acting abilities. After The Karate Kid, offers poured in for Morita, but they were mostly variations of the wise, serene mentor he had already portrayed. This was a source of frustration for him, as he wanted to explore different, more complex characters. His comedic talent, which had first brought him into the limelight, was particularly underutilized, as casting directors could not see beyond the calm, philosophical persona of Miyagi. Morita's struggle with typecasting reflected a broader issue many actors face after a defining role, but it was particularly poignant given the limited roles available to Asian actors in Hollywood at the time. He often spoke in interviews about the need for diversity in casting and the importance of not pigeonholing actors based on ethnicity or a singular successful role. Personal challenges also marked this period. Morita's health, which had been compromised from his years in a sanatorium as a child, occasionally flared up, affecting his work. He continued to perform, leveraging his voice acting in animated films and making guest appearances on television shows, which allowed him some creative satisfaction, even if the roles were not as prominent or challenging as he might have liked. His experiences led Morita to become an advocate for actors' rights and diversity in the film industry. He mentored young Asian actors, sharing lessons from his career and encouraging them to push for a variety of roles. His advocacy work, often done quietly and without much public recognition, was driven by his desire to see a more inclusive and representative Hollywood. Morita's influence reached future generations. Pat Morita's portrayal of Mr. Miyagi left an indelible mark on Hollywood, reshaping the landscape for future actors and films. His performance did not just entertain, it opened doors to new perceptions and broke down long-standing stereotypes about Asian characters in American cinema. Morita's legacy is multifaceted, influencing not only the type of Asian characters portrayed on screen, but also how they are portrayed. Before Mr. Miyagi, Asian roles were often limited to villains or comic relief. Morita introduced a character who was wise, strong, and morally grounded, which shifted audience expectations and industry standards. This character became a template for future roles that demanded depth and nuance for Asian actors. Beyond character portrayal, Morita's impact is evident in the increased opportunities for Asian actors in more varied and significant roles. His success helped demonstrate that diverse characters could carry major film narratives and appeal to wide audiences. This has encouraged filmmakers to develop more inclusive storytelling, which reflects a broader spectrum of experiences and backgrounds. Morita also influenced a generation of actors who saw him as a role model. Actors like Daniel Day Kim and Ken Watanabe have spoken about how Morita's role as Mr. Miyagi inspired them to pursue acting careers. They saw that it was possible to achieve recognition in Hollywood without compromising their heritage. His mentorship extended off-screen as well, where he was known for his generosity in sharing his experiences and advice with younger performers. His influence extended into the martial arts world, where The Karate Kid spurred a surge in interest and respect for martial arts in the West. This cultural shift brought martial arts from the fringes of sports and fitness into mainstream culture, impacting not just entertainment, but lifestyle and personal development. Today, Morita's legacy is not just in the films he made, but in the cultural bridges he built. His work continues to inspire discussions on diversity and representation in cinema, reminding us of the power of film to shape societal views and human connections. Pat Morita's journey from a stand-up comedian to an iconic figure in Hollywood is a testament to resilience and versatility. As Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid, he brought to life a character that transcended the typical roles available to Asian actors during the 1980s. His portrayal of Miyagi was not just a career-defining moment for him, but a culture-shifting one for cinema worldwide. Reflecting on Morita's broader contributions, we see a man who challenged and changed the stereotypical portrayals of Asian characters in Hollywood. By infusing Mr. Miyagi with dignity, wisdom, and compassion, Morita helped shift how Asian characters were viewed in Western cinema. His role encouraged a more nuanced portrayal of Asian individuals, moving away from caricatures to characters rich in complexity and humanity. Morita's influence extended beyond the silver screen. He impacted the lives of countless viewers who saw Mr. Miyagi as a role model and a father figure. The character's philosophy and teachings, from the iconic wax on, wax off to the deeper lessons about balance and resilience, have been adopted by audiences around the world. Furthermore, Morita's success paved the way for future generations of actors by showing that diverse roles could be both impactful and beloved by mainstream audiences. He broke barriers not only in terms of racial representation, but also in the types of roles offered to actors of Asian descent, inspiring future talents to pursue diverse and substantial roles. Pat Morita's portrayal of Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid left a profound mark on Hollywood and viewers worldwide. It redefined the portrayal of Asian characters in cinema and inspired countless individuals with his wisdom and compassion. If Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi inspired you or taught you something valuable, drop a comment below and share your story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold stories from Hollywood.